Hi, I'm Vaishnavi Sivakumar with my matrix number A19A0962. Singapore is physically small but economically big. Over a century, Singapore has been Southeast Asia's most modern city. The city blends Malay, Chinese, Indian and foreigners with cultural and religions. There is an unique thing where ethnic tapestry offers visitors a wide array of sightseeing and culinary opportunities to choose. In this country, according to the full calendar of traditional festivals and holidays are celebrated throughout the year as cultural appeal. Other than that, Singapore's hospitality, such as hotel, serves with luxury delectable cuisine and wonderful shopping outlets. Singapore is an island nation of Republic of Singapore. Lies 1 degree north of the equator in southern Asia. Other than that, island of Singapore, this country too included with 58 or smaller islands which are viewed as a tourist spot in unique way.
Next, I will explain about economy activities. But first of all, I will introduce myself. My name is Shazwani binti Abdul Shukur. My matric number is A19A0918. So, the economy of Singapore country is free market economy. Free market economy system is based on supply and demand, which no government control. So, the main economy activities in Singapore is export and import. It is because the strategic location is on the sea road. The main export partners is Hong Kong, European Union, Malaysia, and United States. Singapore export electronic, machinery and equipment, and others chemical. For the main of import partners is China, Japan, Malaysia. They import technology, machinery and equipment, and others chemical. Other than that, Singapore also run the agricultural technology. Agricultural technology can be a product or services. It also help to improve various input and output process. So, Singapore use the concept of intra-port trade to increase economic growth.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ainul Najmi Fateh bin Ahmad Rafai and my metric number is A19A0075. And right now I will talk about the effect of COVID-19 to the economic growth of Singapore. First of all is global on domestic travel restrictions to contain the spread of COVID-19 have led to sharp fall in tourist arrivals to Singapore and international aid in general. And the secondly is the COVID-19 outbreak has led to a reduction in domestic consumption and travel, which has had a significant impact on the consumer facing sectors such as food services, trade, and also land transport. Going forward, the demand for online sales and service is expected to continue increase as consumption patterns adapted to COVID-19 situation. This is in return expected to provide opportunities to business with the e-commerce presence, including those that provide foods and grocery deliveries, with the telecommunicating and safe distancing set to become the new normal. Third is outward-oriented sectors such as manufacturing, wholesale trade, and transportation and storage have been adversely affected by the fall in external demand and supply chains disruption. Fourth, domestically oriented such as construction, real estates, and the other business services sector have experienced negative spillovers and from the slowdown in domestic economic activities as well as weaker sentiments. Last but not least, in view of the weaker external demand outlook for Singapore and the expected economic impact of the domestic measures taken to contain the spread of COVID-19. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Impact of COVID-19 on unemployment. It is divided into three. Firstly, that is individual, second social, and lastly is country. I will start with individual. For individual, impact of COVID on unemployment is physical and mental health. Unemployed individuals not only lose income and their jobs, but also face challenges to their physical and mental health issues. Unemployment causes individuals to suffer from stress and depression in many cases. Next, self-esteem. Singapore record job loss range from 45,000 to 200,000 by various analyses, including the air transport, accommodation, and other tourism-related sectors, as employers consider drastic cost-cutting measures to survive the circuit breaker and wider disruption inflicted by the pandemic. Workers experiencing prolonged unemployment periods often suffer from low self-esteem. For example, how unemployed workers feel about their misfortune depends on their job prospects in the future. Next, lifestyle change. One of the most significant ways in which the coronavirus pandemic is changing the world is through its effect on every aspect of their family person's life in society, from the macroeconomy to household income, and from social security to individual human rights, including the way we work, live, and learn. Second, social impact of COVID-19 on unemployment. Increased mortality rate. Among the effect of COVID-19 pandemic transmission on society has been an increased mortality rate in Singapore. This is because the quality of life of the community will decrease when they have COVID-19 disease. Next, not productive due to the spread. In addition, Singapore are not productive due to the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is because most Singaporeans have to be confined at home during this period due to inability to exit due to PKP enforcements by the government. That being said, for those who work from home, most of them admit that it's difficult to work from home. This is because there are some problems if working from home. For example, the problem faced when working from home is the difficulty of access the network, not being able to focus on doing work due to the surrounding environment, and so on. This will cause deterioration their work performance due to a less conducive work environment when work from home. It is clear that the impact of this COVID-19 has decreased productivity workers through working from home as a result of some unavoidable constraints, oftentimes befell them wanting to run errands from home. Last but not least, country impact. Increased unemployment. Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong has announced millions of workers have lost their jobs in the country. The government has spent trillions of dollars to support business, the economy, and jobs. Nevertheless, unemployment in Singapore continued to rise until more than 20,000 were laid off. OCM expects layoff this quarter in the manufacturing and service sectors, especially in the arts, entertainment, and recreation and air transport sectors, as it requires stricter security measures, as well as a shortage of jobs in the construction sector. However, unemployment in the service sector, especially healthcare, public administration, social service, and the food and beverage sector increased. That's all from me. Thank you.
COVID-19 effect on inflation rate gives a biggest impact where temporal supply or demand mismatch, as what happened around the world to happen in Singapore, where the COVID-19 pandemic has had a negative impact through both demand and supply. It was the inflationary fall in demand, particularly via lower energy prices, and also affects most industrial directly, which linked to the velocity of people in tourism firms, mainly such as airline, hotel, autos, and clothing. However, demand has forcefully rebounded and begins to highlight some supply side pressures, which concern in areas which seen highlighted demand in the lockdown period. So, secondly, consumption in pattern. Higher demand for used vehicle to substitute upon public transportation, generic healthcare, and home improvement section goods begin to rise in price. The consumer basket will start to reflect over time via higher weights if the increased demand lasts. In addition, it has added to the ongoing demographic trend in basket weight of healthcare, which higher than average inflation rate. And lastly, this COVID-19 related costs for businesses. Expenses incurred by offices and restaurants to comply the new space requirement upon the new norm such as social distancing, employment health screening, physical partitions and deep cleaning fixed costs for some business raised due to COVID-19. This cost will not be passed on the consumer in most of the instances.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Ain Natasha binti Zulkifli. My matrix number A19A0497. So, I will explain the impact of COVID-19 to the economic activities. First, manufacturing. The impact of manufacturing. Industry is a process that is a part of a branch of industry that uses of a number of modern equipment such as industry machinery, irregular and measure management programs to transform raw goods into finished goods and award selling. Manufacturing industry in a country is the main pillar of industry development in a country. So, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic is able to paralyze the global economy that occurs at all parts of the world. Many developed countries such as United States and European Union countries that have the latest technology and qualified health technology are still having difficult to ward off the COVID-19 pandemic, which is impact on the economy in the country, increasing unemployment resulted from termination of employment, increased crime rates, reduced public purchasing power of the market. So that will make difficult for a country to run its economy, terribly affecting the global economy. So next is healthcare. Since the start of the pandemic of KPMG, we have listened to clients and provide insight or support COVID-19 engagement in some of the world's largest healthcare market. To further support leader in this journey, KPMG Global Healthcare Team offer more insight, practical advice, and complete vision on how to navigate the new reality. So next, for the impact of tourism, the outbreak of COVID-19 has exposed a major risk to visit Malaysia 2020. Camping as 50% of Malaysia tourists and originate from Singapore and China. The increasing case of COVID-19 in both countries has led to the cancellation of many tours, which led to a large drop in the number of tourists in Malaysia. So that's all about the impact of the economy. Thank you.
For economy policy implementation, firstly is fiscal policy. Fiscal policy involves the use of government spending and tax policy to influence the economic situation in the country. This condition included aggregate demand for the good and the service, employment, inflation and economic growth. As a result of the COVID-19, the government have improved various measures for the country to help business survive, support household, and help maintain the job. This is because the government used fiscal policy to help residents and help healthy facility. Secondly is monetary policy. Monetary policy involves change in national interest rate and affect the available money supply. In monetary policy, for the government to intervene in the national and aggregate economy to assure that supply or amount of money well well managed. The government has many ways or tools to use to keep it running smoothly. For the different between fiscal policy and monetary policy is, firstly, fiscal policy change in the government spending and tax rate, and for the monetary policy change in the interest rate or money supply. Secondly, for fiscal policy set by government, and for the monetary policy set by a central bank. Thirdly, for the fiscal policy, no specific target, and for the monetary policy, target inflation. Net, for the fiscal policy, side effect is on the government budget and borrowing. Meanwhile, for the monetary policy is the side effect on the exchanges rate and household market. Lastly, for the fiscal policy is strong political dimension to changing tax rate. For the monetary policy, mostly independent from the political process. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nurul Bibiana Baharin. My metric number A1A0726. Okay, my part is conclusion. What is government? As we know about government, this government is a system of government of an organized society, generally a country. Who will be responsible for managing tourism and how? The Singapore Tourism Board is the body responsible for strategic planning to improve the tourism sector after the COVID-19 epidemic spread in the country. The government of Singapore should play an important role in shaping this country to defend the economy by doing various ways such as promoting tourism to attract foreign tourists to visit Singapore. For example, social site, web openings, and browser. Point 3. Improve transportation. The government needs to improve existing types of transportation such as air, land, and sea transportation. Air transportation such as Changi International Airport, land transport i.e. rail, and lastly sea transport such as ferry. The government needs to ensure that is run smoothly, systematically, cleanly, and steadily. Last point is develop social activity. The government needs to expand social activities such as shopping malls, traditional festival, and annual festival celebrate. This make it easy to attract foreign tourists to travel in the country of Singapore. That's all. Thank you.